Adobe Premiere Pro versus Filmora is one of those comparisons that really depends on what kind of creator you are, or what kind you want to be. Because on paper, they're both video editors. But in practice, they offer two totally different experiences. One gives you full control, and the other gives you speed and simplicity. But is Filmora really as good as people say? And is Premiere Pro worth all the hype? And the price? Stick around to the end, because there's one major difference between the two that most people don't talk about, and it might completely change which one you choose. Plus, if you're leaning toward Premiere Pro, there's a full beginner-friendly tutorial linked in the description that'll get you editing with confidence, even if you've never touched the software before. So let's get into it. Premiere Pro is Adobe's professional editing platform. It's used by filmmakers, YouTubers, agencies, and basically anyone who needs advanced control over their content. Filmora, on the other hand, is made by Wondershare, and it's aimed more at beginners or casual editors who want a clean interface, fast results, and some built-in effects without the learning curve. Now, here's where things start to split. In Premiere Pro, you can customize everything: your audio, your color grading, your effects, even your keyframes. It's built for precision, but that power comes at a cost. It takes time to learn. The layout can feel a little overwhelming at first, and if you've never used professional editing software, you'll probably spend your first session just figuring out where everything is. That's totally normal, and it's exactly why I made a simple tutorial for beginners, which is linked in the description. With Filmora, you can jump in and start editing right away. The interface is clean, the tools are labeled in a way that actually makes sense, and there are drag-and-drop templates that make your videos look polished even if you don't have a ton of editing experience. It's fast, it's friendly, and for basic content like vlogs, tutorials, or product reviews, it's more than enough for a lot of people. But here's the catch: Filmora is easier because it's more limited. Once you start pushing past basic edits, maybe you want layered effects, fine-tuned audio mixing, or total control over animations. That's when you start hitting walls. And while Filmora does offer some motion tracking and color tools, they just don't stack up to what Premiere Pro can do. But if you never need those features, that might not matter. Performance-wise, both programs are decent, but this really depends on your system. Filmora tends to run smoother on lower-end machines, while Premiere Pro, depending on the project size, can start to lag or require more processing power. It's not a deal-breaker for most users, but it's something to consider if you're working on an older laptop. One thing that does throw people off with Premiere is the subscription model. You're not paying once, you're paying monthly. Filmora, by contrast, offers a one-time purchase option, and that's a big reason people lean toward it. But think of it this way: Premiere Pro is constantly being updated with new features, better integrations, and improvements. So that subscription is kind of buying you into an evolving tool, not a static piece of software. Now, here's what most people don't realize until it's too late. The editing mindset that Premiere Pro builds is totally different from Filmora. In Premiere, you start thinking like a professional editor. You're building timelines, layering media, experimenting with color and sound. That process rewires how you approach content. And once that shift happens, it's hard to go back to a more simplified editor. Not because Filmora is bad, but because you start to want more control. So if you're debating Adobe Premiere Pro versus Filmora, ask yourself, are you editing to get the job done quickly, or are you trying to build a skill that you can keep leveling up? Because that question matters more than any list of features. And before you click off, here's that one thing I promised earlier. Filmora may be simpler, but it also watermarks your videos if you're using the free version. That's something a lot of people don't realize until they've already finished editing. And by then, it's kind of too late. With Premiere Pro, there's no watermark, even during the free trial. So if presentation matters, that alone might be the deal breaker. In the end, both of these tools have their place. Filmora is quick, user-friendly, and gets the job done. Premiere Pro is powerful, customizable, and built for creators who want room to grow. Pick the one that fits your goals, not just your comfort zone. And if you do decide on Premiere Pro but you're worried about the learning curve, don't forget the full tutorial I linked in the description. It's everything I wish I had when I first started, and it'll make the process way less stressful.